All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Bookmap All Markets Live Order Flow Analysis webinar. We do this every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, 10 a.m. I'm your host, Bruce. So I'm the lead educator here at Bookmap. Monday, Tuesday, and you can reach out to me at on our Discord channel, Bruce at Bookmap, and then also my Twitter handle at Flow Order. Let's go through the disclosures and jump right in. General disclosure, all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure, trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so just a reminder, we just started this on Wednesday, the Blue Jacket competition. There's going to be more information about this. Well, I'll tell you right now about it. This is a monthly contest. At least so far, it's been monthly on the 10th of every month. If you're interested, go to bookmap.com/blue jacket. You can win 3 months of Global Plus and data. All right. So the interesting thing, though, here is that there's something more than you get just by entering the competition and maybe getting Bookmap free. This signs you up for the Bookmap Junior Academy, or at least you can if you like. We'll take a look at the content, and we will, if your content is good, you may be invited to the Bookmap Junior Academy, and then that can lead to the Bookmap Academy and all sorts of other things. All right, so I'll talk more about this in the future. In the very near future, we're really excited about this program. We think it's a win-win for everyone involved. You're going to learn how to trade. You're going to get some mentorship along the way. You're going to have to document your trades, and you'll become a better trader, and you'll be sharing your content with others. All right, so it's a really good program. I hope you're interested in it. It should be, like I said, a win-win for everybody. All right, so let's take a look at these markets. We can look at whatever markets you guys want. Good morning, Rob. Good morning, Tony. Aloha. We're going to look at the S&P right now. This is what most people want. Oh, God, kicking myself this morning. I missed this trade opportunity down here. Anyway, we can talk more about that and why this was an opportunity in here on the move back up. We had some data just now. You can see that we don't know what the numbers are going to be. And you can see that the reaction to the numbers is to the downside here. So this is the University of Michigan consumer sentiment. It's less than expected. So this is in line with what we would anticipate is a move to the downside, and it is. All right, so where is it going to go? Well, 40 looks really good right here, maybe 35. All right, so we seem to be trending now, but just looking for the move into 40 for the moment here. All right, so that's it. Here's the pullback trade in here. Hector was asking me about the pullback trade earlier. He wanted to see this on a daily chart. All right, now this pullback in here, let's just make a distinction here. All right, this is not a high probability pullback. All right, look at the volume. Look at the volume dots in here. We'll talk more and more about these setups as we go through, but we know that the move after the event of the consumer sentiment is to the downside. Okay, we see some buying. It comes almost back to where it immediately dropped from up here around 52, but it doesn't quite make it, and then we see sellers come back in, trade into 45 and a little lower, 44. Now look at the buying that came in here. It's pretty strong, pretty consistent and pretty strong. However, it's not really moving price. Okay, this is where you're going to see, and we'll take a look at this. You can see this in your CVD here. Look how CVD made a higher high here based off all of this volume in here. This is why I'm not a big fan of CVD, to be honest. I don't need to look at the CVD to tell me this. I know that. I can look at it here. I can see it in the dots. I can see it in the bars. I can see it in the price action. All right. Now, this would be a negative divergence. Price can't go higher on all of this volume here. All right. So this made a higher high, but this made a lower high here. There's your divergence in your CVD. Now, like I said, I'm not a fan of it. If I do see volume down below here, sellers, then I'm looking for a continuation of that trend. But it's only down here really, and you got to pull back here. All right, so Hector, let's just go through this in here. Understanding the distinction in here, this is not a really good setup in here. At least I don't see it until at best maybe here with some exhaustion and some selling here, but I like it better down here, to be honest. And that's not a very good entry. All right. In fact, you're really open to right in here taking that risk of a ton of buyers coming in and shooting right back up here, here, and maybe up here. All right. In fact, we may get that now. It's traded to our 40 level. Let's watch. Look at the volume coming in. I'm looking for them to take it right back up to 44 now. Okay, just based off of this liquidity getting filled, we know there's a lot of buyers coming in. In fact, 44 looks fantastic. Look how that kind of matches or aligns here with hold on, with some of these areas we just talked about. Okay, in fact, maybe it comes up to around 44 3/4 or so. All right, we just need to find the buyers though here. That's really the key here. We found some, now we're finding some sellers. All right, so anyway, point is looking for pullback trades here, making distinction. Right, this is not really high probability because there's a lot of buying in here. We want to see lots of sellers and very little buying on the pullback here. That's when we're looking for a huge move in CVD to the downside and very little CVD move to the upside here. There would be your divergence, and that would be a nice little trade set up on a pullback. All right, so look for that in your pullback trades. Right, so that should help a bit there. You know, we can take a look at pullback trades on the daily chart is what Hector was asking. All right, now that's good. And JTrader is the master of this one. He looks for his stocks to break out on the higher time frame, and he's looking for pullbacks at that time. He has a moving average strategy. He's looking for moving averages. You don't have to, or you can if you like. What I want to cover though is that you're looking for some reason for the pullback. Like let's say you have the move to the upside here. Well, you'd be looking for a pullback into these areas. Look at how it pulled back in here several times, and then finally sellers took it through though. All right, so this is what you need to study on your pullback trades, and it's an easy study, Hector. You and ask JTrader. Like I said, he's an expert. He's got hundreds, if not thousands, documented setups in his moving average study. All right, this is why he makes money. All right, he knows exactly what he's looking for. All right, so if that's what you're looking for in your pullbacks on a daily, you might want to reach out to him. I'm going to cover it here just by looking at smaller areas in here, because in these smaller areas in here, it is the same concept. Okay, you're looking at a big range, a breakout, and then a pullback here. Now, look at your CVD on this pullback. Okay, see how this is very much the opposite here. Okay, then we were looking at this one earlier as your pullback. This is not high probability. Okay, maybe it is here, but boy, yeah, I'm not comfortable taking it. Entering short down here and then looking for this continuation. All right, so there's our move to 45, guys. That's what we're looking for, just 45. That's it. Stop at break even at this point. And again, not trade recommendations here, but just ways to look at this and reduce your risk, okay, based on the order flow. All right, let's see if we get this continuation now. We know there's a lot of buyers in here. Maybe they'll come up to here. Okay, up to 47.5. All right, let me check and see if there's any questions here. All right. Good morning, Slowdown. Kendrado and Hector. Yep. All right. And let's take a look over in. Good morning from Rio de Janeiro, Eduardo. Bom dia. Let's see here. So we're going over this strategy in here of your pullback and your studies. So this is something you'll need to study and make a screenshot and mark these things up. Okay, and what happened, right? Maybe you like CVD, maybe you don't. I'm not a big fan, but every now and then, it's fine. I just like to look at the order flow in here. It tells me, I think, so much more than looking at an indicator. It's the opposite. Usually we look at our good morning, Luis. Usually we look at our indicators for clarity, and I don't think it offers as much clarity as looking at the order flow. All right, and I know that's kind of hard for a lot of traders because we rely on that, on something simple, and we try to gain that from these indicators. I just think get better at order flow, and you'll be able to get a lot more out of it, and you'll also get a lot more out of your indicators, knowing that what makes up that price action and volume. All right, so good morning, alt from Alberto. Okay. Milano, Alberto. Oh, okay. You are Alberto from Milano. Okay. Buongiorno. What I wanted to go over was two distinctions. This one here as not so high probability, and this one here as a higher probability. All right. Here we have heavy selling. Here on the pullback, we don't have a lot of buying, although it came back all the way here, and then it traded into this high liquidity here. This is where you're looking to see what happens after these transactions here. We have some exhaustion up here, okay, or lack of buying. That's a good sign. Now we're looking for sellers down here, okay, and I don't see a whole lot. Okay, now I start to see some. This is looking better. Okay, now I start to see some. I'm looking for them to take it down to here, okay, right here or here. All right, this is where the buyers came in. This is where the buyers came in. Okay, so we're looking at, again, who's in control in these areas here? Sellers. Okay, now buyers coming in. So we're looking for a test to here. Would be a good area. Okay, the next test would be down here, and the next one after that would be down here. Okay, we have reasons for our levels in here. All right, now we're looking for liquidity there. I already see some here at 40.50. Okay, so that would be my first target, and we have data. All right, so don't take the risk on that. You just don't know. All right, so anyway, I just want to make a distinction though between the setups. All right, this is a low volume pullback here. This one is not. It's a high volume pullback. Okay, different things here. Inter or Milan? Good question. Right, all of my friends from Milan, it's always Inter. But I know that's changed over the years. Anyway, let's continue on. All right, so one of the things that I wanted to cover today was Fridays, and let's take a look at our bigger picture. Okay, step back here. All right, we have our daily over here on the left, our hourly in the middle, and our 15 on the minute on the right here. Okay, we have a nice gap fill already on the 15-minute, and it came down a little bit further, and it's kind of bounced back up now. All right, so there's a lot of trading here from yesterday, and we're in that kind of range right now, and in the middle of it. All right, so price is kind of stalled out right now, it looks like. All right, so nice gap fill, and it's not gap and then go. It's like so far at least it's been gap and just hanging out. Seems to be pretty comfortable in this area here. So that's what I see at the moment. Our daily here, all right, well, we're in several days of price action here, have not broken out. All right, you can see the wicks here, the price action back and forth. It's been a pretty tough week if you look at it this way. Looking for something to kind of break out and trend, and you're just not getting it. In fact, on what day was this? This was on Wednesday. That was the CPI data. It bashed on the other side, on the downside, bashed on the upside, and you can see we've been within that action since. Is that CPI or is that FOMC? I don't know. We had a lot of data this week, anyway, we're kind of right in the middle there. All right, so well, what do we think? What do we see? I really don't see much right now, to be honest. Not a whole lot. The gap is already filled. The data has already come out, and now we're trying to gain some insight on what's happening. Yeah, I think next week will be different. I think something's going to happen in here. Now, this is what I want to cover though. On Fridays. Okay, these can be really tricky days because you think that everyone's made their decision and it's going south, right? We come back down into these areas down here, or maybe it's this range here, it breaks it, maybe it just fills the gap down here. I mean, that's a big move already. But what I'm trying to say is watch and be careful here on Fridays. Okay, because what you will get is a lot of volume trapped in one direction, and then it just grinds the entire day against those traders. Okay, so we don't want to be those traders. We want to be on the other side, and just hold it till the end of the day. I've seen. I mean, we've all seen this so many times. So look for it on Fridays. You'll see these bigger moves happen. All right, so and we're looking for that insight now, and God, we're just right down here into this kind of big cluster of stuff. So we're just not really seeing much at the moment. All right, so but we're gonna keep our eye out and what that might look like. Well, maybe it will be here. Let's clear our drawings for a minute. Maybe it'll be above the data here, 53, or maybe it'll be below this low here at 40. Let's zoom in here. Okay, well, nice support here on the bid, and they're bidding up here. All right, so let's see buyers take it back up to the top of the range here. Yeah, that looks pretty good for now. Just up to well, maybe we can get up to like 48 here, 47.5. Okay, looking for those buyers. Okay, now it was the bid that helped out here. You can see them on the bid in these areas here, or this area here. And now we're just looking for our aggressors and to carry it on up. Pulling up here, looking good. So they're starting to pull up here. I mean, look, this is dynamic. This is not high probability either at all. All right, we're just looking for that to unfold mostly due to this bid in here. I just want to be clear on that. We're looking for something high probability, and that's not it. Maybe we'll see if we get some if they stay in the book here and support it down here at this 42.5. Yeah, we don't have a lot of buyers in here in all of this price action. Yeah, we're kind of set up for kind of a dismal session here, guys. So not seeing a whole lot. All right, here come some buyers to test back up here. All right, let's see if we get our breakout now. Boy, like I said, we're not looking for much. And this is pretty dismal price action here. I can cover something I saw earlier that I thought was we've been showing our correlations in here a bit, and the market pulse tool, which I want to show you new additions here. Okay, and all of this correlation, all these correlation studies in here, I've looked at correlations for years. I love them. I think this, you've heard me say for years as well, that I think this is probably one of the better insights that you can gain from as an indicator, or a confluence. It just makes good sense. Look at mispricing in here. The euro's up here. The the S&P is down here. Well, that's mispriced, right? So something's going to give here. And that's what I saw earlier before the data. It was right in here. It was this little area in here. Okay, so the S&P here, we'll take a look at the time frame. All right, so the S&P. Now I can create these charts for you guys if you're interested. They're very simple to create. Shadow, how can you export data files in Bookmap if possible? So yeah, you can go up to file, and you mean like your workspaces? You can share your workspaces, definitely. Okay, so I think there might be an easier way. I know one thing you can do though, for sure. Actually, Shadow, reach out to support on this, because I might make your computer crash. I'm not sure about that. The workspaces, sometimes if you're using an older version of Bookmap and then someone shares a workspace of a newer one, it might crash it. Okay, so then you'd have to just kind of create it from scratch. That's the way. There are other ways though in here. Let me see if I can find it here. I think I can just export it in here. If I go to my chart settings in here, inherit, yeah, this is where you can go at chart settings. So just right click on your heat map, and then go to you can save file, load a file, inherit chart settings from. So this is what you do, is you would save this to a file. All right, if you like that, if that's what you're talking about, then under here, go to your open your user folder here. Okay, that'll open your on your local drive, your Bookmap user folder, or wherever you placed it, and then you can look in your workspaces. I think it's under config, right? And you'll find your workspaces in here. All right, and then you can just copy and share that workspace. All right, I hope that answers your question. I hope that was it. If not, like I said, reach out to support. They'll help you on that. All right, so anyway, guys, this is what I saw in here. This was at 9, and I just missed it. It really kind of bothered me at 9:47 here. We can use the data tip tool and hover over here. It says time is 9:47. All right, so at 9:47 here, right, here's our drop. Okay, see the drop in the S&P? All right, let's take a look at our correlated markets. S&P is dropping here. Hold on, 9:47. S&P is dropping here. Okay, and it's the this orange, kind of dark orange line. The euro dollar is the white line. That's going up, and that's a mispricing. All right, so the 9:47 actually was right in here when which is breaking the range right here. Okay, of the S&P. Okay, and look at, you can already see the divergence in here. All right, So now S&P is way down here. I'm looking for buyers in here, and I'm looking for them to trade it back up into these little levels here, maybe even back up to the other side of the range. Okay, very simple, easy setup. Now let's go take a look at it and see what it would look like. All right, so yeah, the target, my ultimate target, well, or at least first scale. Okay, I may get out of my first scale in this little area here or in here to manage the trade. All right, so I'm just going over how I would manage it. You need to take a look at this and do this yourself, though. This is another great area to take some off. Okay, we talk about it all the time for years, and looking for that pullback to test where it dropped from. And we have correlated mispricing in here. Great. All right, and it continued to be mispriced here. However, you know, the data approaches after that mispricing here, that's when you want to get out of your trade. All right, you don't want to have that risk on. Anyway, let's take a look at Bookmap now. All right, so here's the area in question. Okay, this 9:47 here, East Coast time. Here's our drop. Okay, I'm looking for buyers now. I'm looking for an excuse to get in here. Now, there's many price action levels in here. Okay, looking at price structure, there's a few different things to take a look at here. Okay, we can make some trend lines here. Okay, we look for a break of those trend lines, and then we're also looking at the price action at this lower level here. Okay, and this is where we see the opportunity. Okay, here are the buyers coming in. We don't see any buying before that really, except for down here, right? But this is too dangerous here. Okay, unless you see just massive liquidity getting filled in here, or you know, something to that effect. So we get some back and forth in here. Okay, here's where the buyers took control at this time. See him move it up to where it dropped from, pulls back. Look at the buyers come in again here. Okay, we're looking for this area here, this 53.5. Okay, it comes right up to it, a little bit higher into that liquidity up here. Okay, very, very simple setup. Okay, very understandable, and there was reasons behind it, and then it's down to managing your trade. All right, now it's up to you guys. Like maybe you don't want to look at euro dollar, and I've got the Nasdaq, I've got the and Apple here. This is pretty mixed bag of stuff, and I just made this chart here, and like, you know, I didn't really I don't have any other reasons behind it. A better correlated study would be with, you know, it will change. These correlations will change, and you'll need to know the pricing of these various instruments and the relationship between them. Okay, but the dollar index is a good one. I'm using euro dollar instead. Another good one is the bonds, or you know, yield, basically, and versus stock indexes. Okay, we're talking risk on versus risk off type of things. Or another one here is, this is why I have Apple in here, is it's a leading index, or I'm sorry, leading bellwether stock. Okay, and we talked about this the other day too, how easy that is to understand by looking at the heat map here from FinViz. Okay, different kind of heat map, but love their pop-ups. Here's the technology sector, or this is the S&P. This is 500 stocks in here. Okay, who are the big players in here? Who's the biggest player? Apple. Who's the next one? Microsoft. All right, so these are the correlations I want to look at, okay, in this study. All right, so if Apple's leading the way and the stock indexes are behind, there's a mispricing potentially. All right, so very, very simple stuff. All right, and you can look for opportunities, and you know, very, very simple trade setups as well. All right, now why am I covering all of these correlations to begin with? Well, I mean, we're comparing apples to, or apples to oranges, but I mean, we're getting something from it. They're related, and that's what we want to understand. So the market pulse tool is what I want to cover here. Okay, so let's open up our market pulse. It's right here. And we have some new add-ons in here to go through. Okay, I'm going to close all of them here and we'll start afresh. And hit create here. And then we have all these new algos with our market pulse tool. Okay, when we initially showed the market pulse, we just had one, and it was volume pressure. Okay, let's open that one up, and we'll open it up for, let's open it up for the S&P, since that's fine. I want to show something here. And now all we do is we set our threshold, our volume, and then we push play. Okay, and here's the widget for it right here. Okay, it's loading. All right, now, and it tells up here, tells us that this is for the ES and it's VP, volume pressure. All right, now let's add another one though. Okay, create, and it puts it on top here. And now I want to look at something different, not liquidity pressure, okay, not LP. I want to look at a new one that we just released yesterday called volume pressure imbalance. Okay, and we'll make it select it for the S&P, and we'll bring the volume down as well. Okay, and then now we'll just hit play, and we have this one here. All right, now we can put these in the subchart as well, but I want to go over the distinction between volume pressure and volume pressure imbalance. Okay, the difference is here is basically the volume pressure of both buyers and sellers. Here, the volume pressure is a delta. Okay, it's an imbalance. Compared buyers versus sellers in here over time. Okay, over a look back period. Let's go to the settings here. All right, so I'll right click on it and open it up, and you can see it opens it up here. We have our half-life look back, 10 seconds, training period of 5 minutes. It's 5 minutes of data, sliding data, every continuous 5 minutes of data. And then that's it. We're just looking for the imbalance in here. Now the output is also here in the subchart. Let's see here. I think we can subchart delta, or we can show the delta. ABS is absolute delta, right? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we'll not show it in this. Yeah, let's show it in the subchart actually. Delta percentage, that's fine. Let me deselect stops and icebergs for now. Okay. Good, and then let's right click on this one and go to settings. And I don't want to show it in the bottom, in the subchart. Okay, so now we're looking at one line here in our subchart with our volume pressures. Okay, so we're looking for when the aggressors are coming in. Right now, this is good. All right, look at us trading into high liquidity right now, down here around 36, 37. Okay, now we know that there's the aggressors here. There's just more sellers right now. All right, so we don't have anything yet. We don't know. We're looking for that imbalance, looking for when the aggressors come in. Okay, well, it's still a move to the downside. This will help you stay in your trade to the downside. Okay, if you're still short, remain short. There you go. Can you guys hear it come in? Okay, so see the imbalance here? you can see that there's more sellers in here on compared to buyers on the volume pressure, and then the imbalance in here is still showing that there are more sellers. Okay, now look at it, right? The imbalance is showing that buyers are starting to come in a little bit, but the thresholds are over here, the little white line here. This is negative 70%, and this is 70% here. Okay, so that's when you'll get a sound alert. Okay, those are the thresholds. It's the same here. This little white line is the threshold for buyers and sellers in here. Okay, so this is a pretty easy, understandable widget here that we just released. Okay, and you can look at both at the same time in here as well. There's still no reason to get out of this yet. Okay, in terms of the market pulse tool, stick to the downside here. Look at the sellers come in. Okay, now we can add another one in here too. We can simulate also where we can look for divergence in here. All right, so let me just stick with me on this. let me explain here. We're going to look for not only volume pressures imbalances in here. We're going to look at prices, price change. Okay, so let's look at the price change here for the S&P as well. Let's bring this down to 5%, threshold at 70, click play. All right, so what we're looking at in here is like we want to see, remember how we were looking at our correlations last time? I'm sorry, our divergences last time. Hold on a minute here. Let me go to the settings on this one, on the price change, and not show it in the subchart. Okay. All right, so look at this. So now look at this volume pressure come in, and the price change though has not hit its max though. All right, so there's some potential divergence there. All right, let's compare that to our CVD. All right, so CVD, let's look at this area here. Okay, so here's the swing on CVD. Now we do see the move back up above. It is, yeah, I would say it's looking actually pretty good. Let's see if now I'm looking for up here, a retest up here. I'm looking for volume pressure. Now I'm looking for them to try to break it. Okay, back up to like 41.5 or maybe 43. Okay, it looks good, right? They're starting to come in. Now we're looking for the follow through. Okay, let's get up to 40.5. I like the liquidity at 41.5 though. Okay, now we have reasons to turn around and look for a trade the other way. Okay, we have the price change, and we also have the that volume pressure coming in. Now we can see it here too. We can verify it with the price action. Okay, so we saw the sellers. We were saying sell side only until we see buyers come in. All right, now we have something to look at here. We have high liquidity getting filled on the bid down here, and we start to see our buyers come in. We started to hear our buyers come in. We saw the imbalance indicator like hit 70. Okay, we saw the buyers over here hit 70 threshold, and that's when we opened up our price change indicator as well, right? Because we did not see the price change yet, right? And that's when we're looking for divergence, because if all of this buying in here cannot make a higher high in CVD, then someone's on the other side absorbing this. And that's what I'm trying to get at here with this price change algo. Okay, so if you would look back here in this area here, you would see that divergence. Remember how we covered this after the data, this point here. Not a whole lot of selling bringing it down, a whole lot of buying, but failing to bring it higher. Okay, so you're seeing volume pressure or hearing volume pressure, but it's not going anywhere. The price change algo is not showing you that. Okay, see how the price change is starting to ramp up. Okay, I don't see volume though. I don't see volume yet. All right, I'm just looking at the volume delta here, and volume pressure. Okay, volume pressure imbalance. All right, so I see that starting to kind of test some of the it's extending the price range here, but I'm not seeing pressure behind it. Okay, now let's see if we get a little bit. We see a little bit of volume come in here, and let's see what it looks like here. Okay. Yeah, I'm not really seeing much. I do like that we're down here at the bottom of this little edge though, at 37. That looks good. Okay, so now let's look for our buyers to come in. Okay, there's exhaustion here and here. So we're just looking for our buyers now. Okay, looking for buyers, looking for them to carry it right up into this swing up here, and back to where we were at before, our 40.5 here. Okay, nothing yet. It's just back and forth in here. We're not getting any extreme readings in here. Anyway, guys, I wanted to show you these new indicators in here. They're fantastic. There's another one also for crypto with liquidations. So basically, it's like looking at your stops and stop runs, but it's actually even stronger than that. It's actual liquidations of people's accounts. All right, let me get to some questions in here. All right, I've covered a lot, and there's a lot more to go through too. All right, so and also just a quick recap. We were talking about God, what did we start with? I know we started to cover our correlations. Oh yeah, we started with these breakout trades and knowing the distinction on a pullback after a break of a range and looking for something higher probability. Now we covered that in detail. Okay, so we're looking at the volume in here and the price movement in here and where it might come back up to. Okay, and then in this case here, it was not a good setup, or at least it was not a low volume. No, I'm sorry, this was a low volume pullback. This one was not. Okay, this one was a little trickier. Do you want to take risk down here? Okay, so now we talked about risk management in these areas as well. And that's up to you. That's something you need to study and take a look at. If you really see the selling coming in, and here's a little pullback here, and you see selling in here again, it's looking pretty good, right? You know that these guys are on the hook and they will get stopped out to the downside. All right, so you could put it together that way. That's not your traditional kind of divergence trade. It is up here instead. Heavy selling, not a whole lot of buying, bringing it back up. Okay, now the only problem with this one here is that you have your data here at 10 a.m. Here we go. Look at the buyers coming in. Look at the price range. Okay, this is looking like it wants to go. Okay, yeah, here we go. All right, buyers, let's see it. Now, what does the heat map look like? Well, they're staying here in the order book. They are on the bid, though, at a higher level here, too. So I'm still looking for our buyers to try to trade this through. All right, we'll come back and take a look at this. There we go. All right, so now we even got some trapped sellers here. We should see the stop run up above into these levels up here. Okay, that's what I would be looking for. Okay, due to the price action and the behavior of these traders in here, okay, and the volume. Okay, this possible here that this is the trap here. These guys that we just saw. Yeah. So yeah, it's not over yet. We can still come back up to the top edge here. But yeah, it looks like that was the trap here. Now the sellers are trying to take control at the bottom of this edge here, right? This is something where, you know, it's just it's tricky. And we were looking for this scenario. It looked pretty good. And now we're back down to the bottom of the range here. Well, if it starts to go against you on something like this, the best thing to do is just exit and look for the next one. Okay, because you don't want to fight this. You're the business up here. You're getting stopped out down here. Okay, it's going to happen, right? And when you recognize that, get out. All right, that would be a great way to reduce the risk, right? And someone like Gary Norden, we've had several webinars with. He trades from the Dome. He mentioned something about this as well. You know, he's looking for something very specific in the Dome, which, you know, we don't know what it is. It's his proprietary way of trading. But he mentioned, though, like, you know, you don't want to get stuck on the other side of the you know, going the wrong way, right? So once you see that and recognize that, get out. Okay, in fact, it's possible you can even reverse if it really looks good here, right? It has to really look good, though. You can really get yourself chewed up if you reverse. All right, and look what happened here. So we were looking for this breakthrough or breakout at this point, and now we're back down at the bottom. We came back down to here. Okay, this little swing here. Okay, the next one might be here or the low of the day. All right, and then we found buyers trade it right back into the middle of the range here. Okay, so yeah, we're not getting our clarity here. All right, so anyway, guys, we went over this trade or setup in here about the sellers coming in, moving this lower, and then this is our low volume pullback, and this was not our low volume pullback in here. All right, so that answers Hector's question. It also, we started to get into correlations after that. That's where I led to, and that's what I wanted to cover, this opportunity that I saw earlier before the data here at 10 a.m. East Coast time. And look, it would be looking for the pullback to these areas in here. First one here, second one here. Okay, and a beautiful little example here. We covered in detail with the looking at the correlated markets in here. All right, now that brought me into looking at the market pulse tool. Okay, and starting to understand my correlations also there, or more about the aggressor here in this example. All right, now one more thing I want to get into is the Trader Map Pro, since this was released as well yesterday. Okay, so new features in our Trader Map Pro. Guys, this is a very powerful tool. It's MBO data, so it only works, it's a part of the MBO bundle, okay, that you need. You'll need to have Rhythmic data, and it'll have to be CME group instruments only, okay, for futures. Does not work on other markets. Now, these market pulse tools work on all markets, okay, just to let you know, because it's the aggressor here. However, if you get the MBO bundle, these are included in it. Okay, it comes along with it. We're trying to give more value to our bundles. All right, so make it a simpler choice. Let me just go over the pricing here. Okay, so if there's any questions, I want to answer them now. All right, so here's our, if you go to bookmap.com and you click on marketplace, okay, from the toolbar here, more button, and go into the marketplace over here, click on MBO bundle. That'll take you to this page here. Okay, so you can see MBO plus Trader Map Pro. All right, however, you will get the market. You can see it down here, the market pulse volume pressure. Okay, also I don't know if it's been updated. I think you get the in market pulse volume pressure imbalance as well. All right, so you can get it at the bundle. If you already have the bundle, then you're getting it basically for free. Okay, that's what I'm trying to cover here. All right. Let me get back to some of these questions in here. Hector, lots of questions in here. You're really going to have to, continue to ask questions. This is right. But you need to go back and study these and prove it to yourself. It's not going to be me that proves it to you. I can at least share some ideas here. You're going to have to do the studying. It's as simple as that. Don't take my word for it. In fact, question the heck out of it. All right, this is what you need to do. Okay, it's an idea, it's a concept. This is looking good here for continuation now. Looks like out of all of that, looks like the sellers are winning the battle here and looking for them to take it lower. Why though? Okay, and then what should you go back and study in here? Okay, well, I only saw this. I only heard it here as well. Okay, here's your pullback right here. Here's your low volume pullback right here. Okay, this is what you want to go back and study. Now study how many points this was too. So this is not many points. This is just 1 point, one S&P point. Do you really want to risk a lot of money on one S&P point? Okay, so don't take my word for it. Go back in here and study it, because this is what's possible here. Maybe you find that this breakdown here, 1 point, or it kind of pulled back and then went 1.5 points or so. Okay. All right, so this range in here, what if we get buyers up here? Okay, our big green dots up here. This is going to be a beautiful short squeeze. Okay, up into 40, 38.5, 40. Okay, so how many points do you want to see it break down is the question. All right, maybe look at a correlated market. Okay, maybe look at your, I don't know, whatever it is you want to study. Okay, go through these scenarios in here, mark down how many times it broke down 1.5 points and then returned back into the range. Okay, look at here's point of control. This would be your mean reversion trade. Okay, now again, I'm not a big fan of the volume pressure. I'm sorry, all these terms. Your volume profile. I like it. It's not bad. I think there's some pluses to it for sure. Trading back to a high volume node makes good sense to me. Also, just back into the middle of the range, and where I know there's a lot of transactions, the same concept, same idea. So this looks like a good pullback here. Okay, I would even say here is better than here in this area here, right? Because this is where it broke from. So if we get buyers that come in and you start to see that, look for these sellers to be upended up into here. Okay, let's just call it 37. That's something to study. Go back and do the studying here. I can come up with the concepts. We can go through and say, oh, it did this, it did that, but this is not 100% certainty whatsoever. This is probabilities. All right, you need to prove the probability to yourself, and you have to believe in it 100%, and you have to have a way to protect yourself when it doesn't work. Okay, that's what needs to be done. All right, and then there's going to be nuances in here that we will cover in these webinars, like look at the bid. Okay, they're bidding up in here. All right, are they staying in the book? Are they pulling on the offer? Do we find our aggressors in here? Okay, are we starting to get price movement and volume pressure imbalance? No, not yet. Do we up here? Let's see it at just about 35 3/4, 35 1/2. For me, this would be a go. I would take it. Right now, it's not a trade recommendation. Okay, but I went, I've looked at enough of these in here, and I've documented enough. For me, I'm looking for this scenario to unfold, and I would reduce the risk up here at our 37 and then try to hold for a winner or runner. All right, point made. Yeah, we'll see, right? So let's say I got in here 35 1/2. I'm still in it. Where's my stop? Well, I look for this to work now because of my reasons. I'm looking for the test and take some off up here at this 36 3/4 or 37. Okay, I may yeah, I don't know, I may have my stop down in this area here. I may even have it tighter because I'm looking for it to work right now. Right, that's something that I look for. If it doesn't work right now due to the order flow, I was off, something's wrong. But that's the way I like to trade. Okay, so then I just reduce the risk. Okay, I'll just get stopped out at break even, or take a small stop. Okay, and just look for the next. Okay, so I would still likely be in this because this 36 3/4, this is what it gave us. 11 traded up here. Well, there's 129, 130 up here. I'm not getting filled up here with my limit sell. I'll tell you that. Right, so yeah, this would be I'd still be in it. If my stop was here, I might have moved it up. All right, so anyway, that should answer a lot of questions for you, Hector, because you're asking for a lot of questions, which is great, but you're looking for certainty. The certainty is not going to come from my answers. It's going to come from you doing your studying. That's where you're going to get your certainty. All right. Sorry guys, it's kind of a funny session, but anyway, let me continue on here. Luis. All right, so I would have been out one, and I have my runner on. Okay, now it came almost to where I had my stop, right? I mean, one tick away, basically. Well, this one worked out. All right, now this is the thing to go back and study too. Look at your market structure in here. I'll get to your guys' questions in a minute. Look at your market structure in here. Okay, is there still reason, or how much did it pull back? Okay, after looking for this little area it was in here. This is where we would have gotten in. Now, these, again, not a trade recommendation. This is only for educational purposes. If you got in here, how much did it go against you? Okay, what was your maximum excursions, adverse excursions here. Okay, it went against you from 35.5 down to 34.5, so it went against you 1 point here. So that's something to study. That's something to put into your plan, your study plan, right? To understand how much it goes against you. Where do you place your stop? What's the last swing here? Maybe you look at swings. Maybe it's down here that you want to place your stop. Okay, well then what's your risk reward ratio if you do that? Okay, these are all things to consider, right? And that's where trading can get complex. But just try to keep it really simple. In fact, maybe you get all in, all out, and that's it. You're just looking for it to work, and then that keeps your trade management very simple, and it's more about your setup, and you're studying and looking for your edge in your setup. Okay, you can work on the trade management later here. So for example, this is like 1-to-1 here. If I had my stop way down here, this would be 1-to-1. Okay, and that's not a very good ratio, right? Or maybe you would be looking for 2-to-1. So you can be wrong twice and you get one winner and you're fine. These are all things that you'll need to look at. You want to study your ranges. Okay, and that's once you have that information, start trading it in sim, start trading it in demo, live demo, start trading it in micros, and then start to consider your trade management, maybe scaling in, scaling out, however you want to do it. Okay, maybe it's not all in at once. Maybe you scale in. Maybe you're in half here. Just note, if you're in half here and it goes immediately up, you're only getting half. Okay, there's going to be gives and takes to it all. All right, let's continue on here. I think I've belabored the point. Yeah, you don't see much difference, I think, Luis, in here. Yeah, the euro dollar is not. It doesn't. It's not a big mover like compared to the indexes and the stocks, as you can see here. Yeah, this is a study you'll have to go through, and look at your correlated markets in here. The percentages in here is because it's looking at a percentage change in here basically. I'm sorry, it's not. It is percentage with the other ones, but not the euro dollar. So maybe what you can do is maybe if you do open up another ES chart and then put the euro dollar on it as a correlated market, maybe that'll help. Right, and then because that's going to, or maybe use NASDAQ as the big mover. I don't know, whatever it is, play around with it to see like, if maybe you can get a better correlated readout here. Yeah, block orders. Yeah, sure. You can look at block orders in Bookmap as well. Let me show you how you do that. You can come up to your studies configuration, or right click on your volume dot, go to volume dot settings here, and then these are your block trades down here. Minimum trade size, let's say you want to look at 20. Okay, minimum of 20, and then you get that. These dots in here are only showing you minimum of 20. You might want to go to your total volume in here as well, okay, instead of volume delta. All right, so yeah, let's see what it says here. Nice move. So this is fall at 44. Yeah, okay, so yeah, Play around with it, like, and see what you come up with, but you might have to switch over to total volume. Maybe not. Anyway, I like the volume delta setting, but that's how you do it. And I'm not a big fan, actually, about looking at the block trades. Here's why. We had this actually from the very early stages of Bookmap. The block trades are great. However, not in the algorithmic environment. It doesn't really, work like that as much as it used to. So what you can do is you can filter for when lots of trades happen very, very quickly with minimum displayed volume here. So what I'm filtering for is within a very short time frame, 1,000 traded, right? And this is going to be based on your zoom level. Actually, it's kind of funny that way, but I'm not getting any output here. All right, so we're going to have to reduce that. So let's reduce it. Let's go half. All right, so we have a few now. So when 500 transacted within a very, very small time frame, very small, like 1 pixel small, that's what it's based off of. The smallest amount available on the screen. So we're not getting much there. Let's half it. Okay, 250. There we go. Not bad. Now look at the volume here, right? So this is basically the reason why we have this setup here, or this feature, is a lot of the block trades have been replaced with several small, very quick transactions. Instead of a block of 250 of one trade, you'll see 250 trade of one order each, or one order size each. All right, so that's a way to filter for that. Okay, so you're gonna have to play around with it. It's going to be based on your zoom level too. So when you zoom in and you start to pull apart this, the pixels in here, then that condition will not be true any longer. Right, so just note that. Let me show you where you can find out more about that as well. Go to our new learning center. It's all free. Go to bookmap.com, click on the more button here, and go to learning center, and bookmark it here. It's under, we have a new, it's at bookmap.com/en/learning -center. Okay, it used to be just learning. We put the -center in now. So trying to be a little bit clearer about it. It's under here, the course. Okay, getting started course. We just put this together. Okay, just go here and go to volume in here, and click on volume.display. All right, here, I'll put this into the chat for you, and you can go directly to this page. Okay, it's the filtering ones down here though. Well, in fact, let me give you the filtering one. Now just go to you can see they're very short. So start with this one and just watch these three here. All right, that'll do the trick for you. All right, so here you go. There's the link. Learning Center is great. Thank you, Luis. I really appreciate that. We put a lot of hard work into it, and I was kind of absent last quarter. A lot of these webinars I canceled because I was working on that. And there's going to be more that I'm going to have to put in. This is going to be trade setups. That's why we're going over a lot of trade setups in here. We'll have a new course in there for trade setups. All right. It's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it. We're going to be able to really offer some great stuff for you guys. Okay, and we're talking about holistic here, trade setups, trade management, trade psychology, studying how to backtest, answering a lot of Hector's questions. That's what our goal is here, is to answer Hector's questions. All right. Well, here's another thing. This is something that we talked about with slowdown for several weeks now. he was documenting really nicely, really very precisely documenting a lot of the reversals, right? And they take a while. You think you got it, and like, oh, you know, it's going to go a million points the other way. The ship has to turn around here, and it's not just the ES. That's why we want to look at the correlated markets as well. Is like it takes a lot to kind of turn these things around, right? Look for your stocks. Look for your what's happening to the dollar. What about the bonds? You know, what if it's, you know, if the markets are really sensitive to the price of oil, as we've seen many times. You know, that's another correlation you might want to take a look at that point. Now, when you can start to look at some of these things in here, you're going to get a lot more insight. Okay, and then you can look for when these things might turn around. And we did not look at the correlation at this point down here. Okay, we looked at it. What were we looking at in here? We're looking at this. We're looking for it to happen here. It did not, and then it did happen in here, and we thought, okay, it's looking pretty good for coming up and at least testing up here. It took a while. You know, look at the selling coming in now. So this move is done, right? You know, we're still in a downtrend here. Okay, so this reversal failed here. Okay, it did the trick. It went above this little 39 area here up into what we were looking for earlier, kind of 40-ish, 41. Okay, Hector, here's your pullback as well. All right, and then now look at the sellers come in. They've had enough. Okay, right down to here, 35. Okay, right down to where we were looking for that opportunity to go long in here. Okay, well, price action looks good here on our market pulse. What about our volume pressure? Nope, nothing. Dried up. Was looking really good earlier. You can see it, and we heard it. Okay, so now what are we looking for now, Hector? We're looking for a pullback, right? We don't hear the volume come in now. Okay, so where might it pull back to? Let's take a look. It's already done it here on the small range. Okay, that we look for our ranges in here, especially typically the stronger the move, the more shallow the pullback. Typically. Okay, so here's our little range in here, and it did pull back to it right here. Okay, now what about where else might it go? Well, I really don't see anything until just about here, which lines up pretty nicely. See this little ledge in here and see this volume here? See where the sellers really came in? They came in, well, maybe here, but they really came in here at 38. So let's mark up 38. And that's what we'd be looking for, a bigger pullback. That's where it would go. You know, something like that. All right, let me get back to questions. Yeah, these are all widgets are part of the Market Pulse, Alois. In the top right here, the is this what you're talking about? You said top left. Trader Al or IA. No, this is our imbalance indicator we've had for quite a while as well. A book imbalance and volume imbalance is based off of the chart range, that viewable chart range. So if I zoom in, this is going to change, right? And it's a very simple calculation, and all it does is calculate you know, buyers versus sellers, and kind of spits out your imbalance here, right? And it also makes that for not just the volume, but also for the order book. Okay, the order book is for current as well as viewable range in here, which there are settings in here you can play around with as well. All right, this comes as part of Global Plus. if you're interested in that. Right now, that market pulse, or I'm sorry, the MBO bundle with stops and icebergs and Trader Map Pro, that's all part of the MBO bundle, and it will include these new algos here as well for the market pulse. Okay, Bobby, got it. All right, so here's our drying up again, and now looking for our pullback here. Let's see if we can get our pullback to 32.5. It's already done the first pullback here. I think there's a little more juice in it though. Look at the volume pressure coming in, right? So maybe up to here, 32.5. Almost made it already. Okay, now we haven't even looked at our higher time frame levels here. We've been covering so many different things in here. Just what we're covering in here, when you start to look at your higher time frames, look for the same things. Okay, like your levels in here. Okay, so like down in here, you'd look for what's going to happen down here, 41.24, or these wicks down here. This is a great target, 41.24.25 down in this area here. Okay, we see what happened here. We had our gap fill. Okay, the data came out, continued on lower. We had a big pullback here, and we continued on lower. Okay, now we're starting to find a wick here, starting to find some buyers. I don't know, it doesn't look too convincing, but it's just this little pullback here. There we go, to our 32.5. There you go, Hector. There's your pullback. Okay, where would your entry be on this? I'm still trying to, I'm not much of a pullback trader. I'm still trying to refine my entries on this, and I don't know what I think about it yet. A lot of times I look for the order flow in here to tell me. That's what I typically go with, is just let the order flow tell you in here. Okay, and that is the safest way to do it. Okay, because in here there's really no reason yet. Now we might have a reason here. Okay, let me make the dots just a little bit bigger. Okay, because these guys might be trapped, right? We have a trap. Now we're looking for our sellers here, and then we're looking for them to continue on lower. Okay, so we want to identify those traps. It's going to be fuel to the fire to the downside. Okay, so you can see what's happening here. It's actually, going back and forth in here. Looking better here now. I really like it a lot better. I got to see the sellers here though, right? Or you can look for your lack of buyers up here, your exhaustion, and then look for a little bit of selling to come in and trade back down to 31.25 here, the bottom of this little range in here. That's just a scalp, but concepts are the same. All right. Other ways, like on these pullback trades, I know that this is low volume. You can look at this, look at it in the bars, look at it in the size of the dots. Okay, and it came back to the level we were looking for. So a lot of times I kind of think, well, it's dangerous, but a lot doesn't transact up here. So this is something you got to study. If a lot isn't transacting up at this area here, then we're looking to get in at this area, okay, no matter what. Okay, now if we're looking at tons of buy volume in here, that is not it. Okay, we're looking for very little volume up into this level here, and we did get that, right? So then up here you're sitting, pretty well. You had your reasons for getting involved in here. And in fact, depending on how you trade, like, if you got in here, maybe you took, you scale here and reduce some risk. Maybe not, maybe you're looking for a bigger move. Okay. Something like down to 28 and then taking some off. Whatever it is, you got to figure out your risk management part. Yeah, see how now these areas get tested here. we're still in a downtrend. Sellers are still in control from this point here, but they can get upended very easily, right? So let's talk about this. This is a low volume pullback, and this is a setup. This is where it really tests you. Okay, it's above it here, it's above it on volume, right? So now buyers can flip this and take this higher, okay, very easily. Even if it's a low volume pullback, if you get buyers on the other side here, look out. They can take it, okay, very easily, and short squeeze all of these shorts in here. However, a lot of times what they'll come up and price will test up here and just not find any more buyers. Now we're still looking for sellers below that area here. Okay, so it's still on here, right? So that's the tricky part here. In fact, you really want to see sellers here. If you get sellers here, that means that these guys got it wrong. Okay, they're trying to buy a breakout, and we're looking for trend continuation. All right, so now do we get our big red dots down here? No, we didn't. Okay, so that's what we need to see. This is our pivot point right in here that we're looking for. Okay, where these buyers came in and where they're out of control. They are in control in this small move here, and they still remain in control. Okay, until we get our sellers below that in here, right? Then we're looking for the break. Okay, now there's a million ways to slice and dice it. You can look for your exhaustion here, and you can trade it back down to here 32 and take some off. I know that's only a few ticks, but the concept is what we're covering here. Okay, so let's see if we get our sellers in here. I don't like that the book is showing on the bid here some strength, and that's doesn't really fit what we're looking for. We're looking for these guys to pull that liquidity, and we're looking for the offers to strengthen at a lower level here. All right, let's see, do we get our sellers here? Anyway, so Hector, I want to cover something in here. So, let's suppose you're not going to do your studies. I know you're going to do them, but let's suppose you're not going to do them. You're going to come in here, you're going to listen to these webinars, you're going to look at Bookmap, and you're going to read it, and you're going to try to draw conclusions, and you're going to trade it, and you're going to think, well, I did what they said and I lost money. This sucks. Okay, but you didn't. If you did that, you wouldn't have understood what exactly you're looking for in here, to understand that it will work out over time if I have many instances and I understand this in here. I understand how these markets work. I understand exactly what I'm looking for, and I'm also reducing my risk. Okay, so instead of taking my word for it, is just a concept or it's an idea to as a starting point, okay, for you to build your edge. All right, that's what's really key here. Okay, it's not that, oh, I did exactly what he said and it did this. Here, let me show you. There's an example in here. Stan, really great stuff. Stan reached out to me here on. I want to show this. It was just great. He detailed out a whole trade. That he had his reasons for this in here, and then I replied back like You know, this is perfect. Read it perfectly. All right, so look at this up and high volume. It was a high volume node that he's looking at. Well, there's high liquidity. Okay, there's high volume here, but it traded right into this high liquidity, absorbed. He understands absorption now. Okay, and he sees exhaustion here. He understands exhaustion. He sees sellers come in here, and then he sees sellers down here. Now the thing, there was one risk in here, and we'll go through it, his trade, but there was one risk in here. The sellers in here, look, it's not a whole lot. Okay, they are selling, okay, but it's not a whole lot. Right, so what happened? Here, let me open it in the browser. What happened is the price came back up to here, and you saw buyers up here. But now he also identified, okay, well, there, you know, his entry is here, looking for this to go lower, right? And it's looking pretty good, but you know, there's just not a whole lot of selling down here yet. Okay, so one more test up here, but now it can't make a higher high. You get sellers, they are absorbed or stuck here. There might be an iceberg on the other side, it probably looks like to me. Now he's getting sellers down here. Okay, and his trade started to work out. In fact, it really worked out. Okay, here's a continuation, this third image of it, and this is what happened. Okay, here's where those buyers were stuck earlier. Now the sellers came in. Here's another pullback, still trying. Okay, more come in. Now look at the offer here, more on the offer, sellers coming in. His first target's down here, or I'm sorry, first scale was here, second target's down here. Great, this was just great, right? So now not only do that, okay, to understand what you're looking for, but put it into a study, as Excel spreadsheet. Okay, put your image in there as well. Right now, try to get at least 17 instances of that pullback trade or whatever it is that you're looking at. Okay, and then document how many did it go against me. You know, what instrument is it? What time of day was it? What was the volatility that day, etc. Now you have something. Okay, at least 17. You know, you could do that in a few days. Use replay mode in Bookmap and go back and study a bunch of different things, or just study it each day and add to it each day. Okay, we were looking for this scenario here, right, to play out. Okay, well, it kind of did it, and then it pulled back again, and now it's following through. Okay, and it pulled one more pullback here to the low. Okay, and this is where we said take some off. Okay, and then look for follow through. I don't like this. Look at this. Buyers here, lack of sellers here. Okay, at the low of the day, I don't like it. Like there, if we get buyers up here, look out. Next area is 32.5, 33. This is a little double bottom and balance in here. Okay, so now you might want to, you know, consider exiting your position and looking for another setup. Okay, because there's risk here. There's risk not just on managing your trade to the upside. I'm sorry, to the downside going against you. There's risk, you know, having to take your profits as well. Okay, maybe this shook you out of the trade. Hey, we're talking about reducing risk here. We don't know what it's going to do. There was a potential here. They're pulling here a little bit on the offer. We see the buyers come in here. We see the exhaustion or lack of sellers here, and a little bit of buying in here. Yeah, you know, reduce your risk. Okay, so you took some off here, and then you probably took some off here, and now you're looking for your next trade setup. Now look, this is you know, not a big trade in here. You know, we've been noticing that in the S&P, it's only giving us 3, 4, 6, 7 points, something like that. Whereas a few months ago, we were getting 20, 10 easily, right? So you're going to have to think about your scaling then as well. All right, guys. Well, we didn't get too much time here to go over TraderMap Pro. I'll have to go over it next time. We've covered it once before, but I did cover the new volume pressure and balance in here, and we went through a lot of different things today. So let me see if there's any questions in here. Yeah, AC, so you're looking at price change and volume pressure and balance together. Yeah, it's up to you. I like that idea. I haven't, it's a new one for me as well, this volume pressure and balance, but to me it makes good sense. I'm looking for that pressure to come in, and now I'm looking for price change as well. Great. Go. If you're a momentum trader, that's all you need. Go with it, right? Look at your levels though, and now you're looking for that that pressure to really increase. Oh, hey, Deborah. Yeah, thank you very much. Happy Father's Day. No, Mother's Day, right? Father's Day is in June. Iceberg buying at the moment. Let's take a look. Might be. No, there was iceberg selling in here. Iceberg buying over here though. Yeah, it's kind of all over the place. Well, anyway, some really great new things with the TraderMap Pro filtering to really get into the details in here and looking at your heat map. I would highly recommend it. I mean, filtering this heat map and getting rid of some of the noise. Let me just show you one and then we'll end it there. And guys, if you like this, please hit the like button. It doesn't cost anything. It doesn't, you're not tracked or anything, but it helps us. So that's why I always ask. Let's see the TraderMap Pro. Let's go over that. Here it is here. Okay. And let's create a new map. All right. And I want to show this one here. Okay. You can give it a custom name here. Let's add a map. Filters, we're going to use a new filter in here. We're going to use the order size percentage. I love this one. Okay, instead of setting the orders in here, I'm going to use percentage. And then you can use the slider here as well. And when you use the slider, see how if I go up to 40%, it tells me 37 contracts and above, or whatever you're looking for. Let's click play. And then 37 and above, where are they? Or was it 37? No, it was more than that, quite a bit more. Right? Let me go back to my settings here. What was it? 56 was it? Okay, so yeah, they're really far apart right now. All right, let's stop that one, and actually I want to show this other one though to play around with. It's new. I'm playing around with it. I really like it. Let's create a new one here and add, and we're going to add in it's through the data distribution here, or no, I'm sorry, it's through the order change filter here. Okay, so order change filter, and then it shows, okay, was it changed or not, or unchanged, not changed. Okay, so I'm going to click unchanged here, and I'm going to, you also have selection here of price or size, or price and size here. Let's keep it at price or size. Now what this is going to show, it sounds kind of complex, it's very simple. When we hit play here, it is going to show me orders here that did not change by price or size. Therefore, what it means is that they stayed in the order book. If they change, it takes them out of the calculation here and will not display them. Therefore, what we're looking at is longer term high liquidity that has not changed. It has not changed its price level. It has not changed its size. Okay, so what that means, it is more likely that this is real liquidity and that they're going to stay in here in the order book. That's what it means. All right, so now you have that insight. Well, all right, so I'm looking then for, if I'm in a trade and maybe it's a longer term trade, or I've got my stops way up here, or my where do I place my targets? Well, this looks like a good area right here, right around this 27.5, as an area to take some profit. All right, or yeah, I mean, trade down to it, or manage your trade off of it, whatever the case is. Okay, so you've just filtered out looking for longer term high liquidity that has not changed price. It wants to, they're just staying in the order book waiting. Okay, which is a lot of the stocks do exactly this. They do not change. You can see in Tesla here, right? So you can really target these areas here in the stocks. It's very much like this, right? I love this tool. Just getting better at it. All right, guys. Anyway, I'm over my time limit, and Tom B is up. If you guys are interested in your volume profile, jump over to there. Right after that, we have Frank Morero. It's in Spanish. He's futures and stocks trader. And then later we have right after that we have Doug, options with Doug. And then later in the day we have Algo Boys, futures traders. They'll wrap it up from 2:30 to the close. Okay, thanks guys, thanks everybody, thanks for coming. Have a great weekend. Hit the like button there, and we'll catch up with you on Monday. Yeah, I might be presenting on Monday. However, all next week we have our Pro Trader webinar series, so it'll be at 10 a.m. Monday we'll have Fausto Puglisi in the afternoon, though. Maybe we can get him in the morning. I'll see. And then Tuesday we have Frank Morero at 10 a.m. and we have Jay Trader, and then Scott Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday we have Charles from Pirate Traders. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.